to get to this block because this is between the end of April and the end of July. So May, 3 months. Let's count how many games some of you blokes, the Stars, played. 13 club games. Panasonic Cup, which was the midweek competition. Talk about that in a second. Quarterfinal, semi-final and final, because you blokes made it against St George. So that's 16. City Country, you played. First 2 Origins. After Origin 2, what's that, 18? First, so Origin 1 and 2, then the first test against Great Britain, then Origin 3, then the last 2 tests against Great Britain, I think we're at 21, and for good measure, in fact, I've miscounted here, you had a test against Papua New Guinea and the rest of the world. This was all in a 3-month patch. 24 games we counted. Blokes like you and Pearce and Benny and Gary Jack, you weren't playing all of them because some of you were in the test team, some of you weren't. That is insane. That full professionals now couldn't get away with that. You're semi-professional, basically. How the hell are you doing that?
I think it's got to do with being a teammate. I mean, we were playing in Origins on a Tuesday. That's when they used to have Origins on a Tuesday, and we'd play in the Panasonic Cup on Wednesday. Now there was no way the next day. There's no way we could play in those games, but you had to. Our skipper, Wayne Pearce, was the greatest leader of all time, in my opinion. So he would back up the day after a game. So mate, you'd feel weak if you didn't.
Well, this was a money competition, so some teams will take it seriously. Some teams wouldn't. I guess teams started taking it seriously if they got to the semis. Because it was like 150 grand up for grabs.
It was a big 1-to-1. I think we won a couple of them, the Panasonic, in those times, when the big money was on offer.
So St George won this year. Yeah. The year we're talking about, 16-8. Yeah, Constable Craig Young.
Could play him.
But you saw a big crowd. But that was. I can't believe that schedule. So you're right. You play a test match on Saturday afternoon against Great Britain, and you're playing club football on Sunday.
Yeah, but the worst,
that's insane.
No, but the insane one was playing Origin on a Tuesday night in Queensland.
Yeah,
travelling back down, then playing Amco Cup or Panasonic Cup. Panasonic Cup on the Wednesday, a day after an Origin.
Now I read in the research you had to quit your job. What were you doing? Do you remember what you were doing in 1988?
Putting up the flag at Balmain Race Club. No, in those days. We got looked after, mate.
Yeah.
We got, everyone says, oh, mate, semi-professional and all that sort of stuff. But, mate, Keith Barnes made sure we had good jobs. Mate, we were sales reps and all that sort of stuff. Mate, I'll tell you, going away in '86, I never went away with the Kangaroos because we couldn't afford it. Because I was working and I had a brewery truck with a bloke named Steve Stopper Lavis. Yeah. And I said, mate, I can't go. I can't afford to go. He said, mate, you're going. He said, we'll put on an offside. You're going, and I'll pay you. That was wow. a Balmain teammate of ours. You know what I mean? Just without him, I probably wouldn't have went.
Wow.
Because I think, if I remember rightly, I think we were getting like 150 quid a week, which is not much money.
What,
mate,
to play football?
To play in England. Wow. Playing the test match. Mate, I'll bring it in one day for you, Dan, because I know you'll be interested in this. I got my first ever pay slip from a 3-match series for New South Wales against Queensland, right? For the 3 games, I got $1,500. I reckon I got $1,500 worth of stitches.
Wow.
Would have cost me $1,500 in medical bills. But that, mate, I've got it. I'll bring it and show you. Very interesting.
Well, you would have had to lose days of... Okay, for you it might have been different because you're being looked after, but people would have had to miss days of work for that.
100%.
So yeah, you're getting $1,500.
And mate, I don't go against anything. Mate, all the money these guys get today, they deserve. Mate, I'm telling you, it is a hard way to make a quid. I don't begrudge anyone. But I tell you what, you would think back in the day, it wasn't for the money, mate. It was for the love of the game.
No. So, all right. Balmain's going okay, but you're outside the top 5.
Yep.
Ellery Hanley joins. Give me a sense of what this bloke was all about. Ellery Hanley, the Pearl, He was in Great Britain's best player. He'd played pretty well in the Test series. He was actually seen as the best player in the world at that point.
I had never ever seen him. We had some good ones. Keith Barnes was instrumental in getting Lee Crooks, Gary Schofield, all those sort of guys. I'd go as far as to say as Ellery Hanley is the greatest for a short stint, the greatest player from England that they've ever brought over. Mate, he changed the game. Now, I'll give you a little insight. Benny was the marketing manager of the Tigers at the time with Keith Barnes. They went out and picked him up at the airport. And he said Benny couldn't believe it. On the way home, he knew everyone's characteristics, how they played, who to run off, who to...
Yeah.
He said, mate, I couldn't believe this bloke was that professional. But he changed. Mate, we don't make the grand final if Ellery Hanley doesn't play. Unfortunately, he gets knocked out in the grand final, which in those days, Queensbury rules, they were the rules. That's the way it was. My real disappointment with Ellery is that he took the money to go and he come back and he went to West.
Yeah.
He went to West. If he comes back in 89, mate, she's a lot closer grand final than what it ended up being.
Well,
and it was level scores at full time.
I mean, the transfer fee. So we had a thing called transfer fees. He was Wigan. Wigan were the superstars.
Mate, he was unbelievable.
And I think it was $250,000, which was an insane amount of money. But then Easts had Kerry Packer money.
Yeah.
But even they didn't want to stump up. They said that's too rich for our blood. And then apparently he was on the outs, Ellery, with Graham Lowe, the coach of Wigan at the time. So
is that right? Yeah,
he took a lot less money because Balmain couldn't afford stupid money like $250,000. So it was just right place, right time.
Yeah.
And
mate, he was. Mate, you talk about players that put bums on seats and superstars and all that. Mate, people come to watch that guy play. He could run. His greatest attribute, I thought, he could run as quick across field and straighten up in the holes as he did forward. Mate, I've never seen anything like it. And an athlete, mate, trained. Unbelievable. He was unbelievable.
Well, he's playing centres out here. So he was a lock, 5'8", but he was basically given a roving commission.
You do your best. Mate, he popped up everywhere.
Yeah.
But the other bloke that was like that but wasn't probably as good was Gary Schofield, was unbelievable too. But this guy could turn a game on a dime. And mate, as I said, if it wasn't for him, we don't make the grand final.